Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Codebase Alpha. This is episode 32. And as a little break from what we've been doing recently, we're going to have a quick look at our text adventure that runs in Alphabot. So Alphabot's not running at the moment, so don't bother with any commands in the chat which use the Alphabot. The Nightbot and Cloudbot commands will still work though, so things like uptime and shoutouts and things like that still work. So what I'd like to do is think about how we can implement events, things that happen either at certain locations after a certain amount of time's elapsed, and those could be different for different players, or at random. And so we need something really to kind of spice up the adventure a bit, and also we need to be able to. Matthew, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the bits. That's very nice of you, thank you. So as I was saying, we kind of need to be able to score points on this game as well. Currently, you can wander around and pick up treasures, you don't get any points. And you can die. The only way you can die currently is by trying to move downwards when you're over encumbered, which is basically when you're carrying a giant gold nugget. If you try and go down, you will fall to your death. So that's the only way you can die at the moment. So we need to have some kind of jeopardy introduced as well. But we're going to start this off very simply, and we're going to kind of build it up as we go along. I've not quite really even figured out how we're going to do wandering monsters yet. But let's make a start on just a basic event system, and we'll refactor and refactor and until it kind of starts to suit our needs. So let's go over to the code and have a look at that. So here we are in the Alphabot and in the text adventure section of Alphabot, and this part of the code is the move command. So this is when you kind of move from room to room. And what I think that this move command also represents is the passage of time. So that as you move from cave to cave, then some unit of time elapses, and we'll call that a turn in the game. So every turn we're going to need to check whether there's an event that's going to happen. As I say, this could be a random event, or it could be a planned event. So it could be something that's going to happen, once or maybe multiple times. So if we go and have a look at the adventure map, this is the map which we're using. So this is the original map going back to 1975. It's the 350 point version of Colossal Cave, and this is the old school game that we're kind of replicating. We will change it a bit, add some more rooms as we go along, but I haven't finished building all of these dungeon rooms yet anyway. I think I've done most of the stuff up here. There's some up here we've done, and I've done a bit of bed quilt and over here, but there's still quite a bit of these treasure rooms I haven't done. So I think this giant egg room here is not done. I'm not sure we've done the vase. The clamshell we haven't done. And there's some of the parts that are still missing. So we're going to kind of tackle those, over multiple streams. But I don't want to make this a regular kind of subject to the stream. It's just kind of the odd couple of streams thrown into the usual schedule. We'll look at the text adventure. So one of the things that happens in the original adventure game is that when you actually arrive in the caves proper, you actually get some points. So arriving in the cave proper is signalled by when you get to the top of this small pit and you go down the pit and you arrive for the first time in the Hall of Mists, and you'll get some points for doing that. So I think we should implement that kind of as an event, the arrival within the caves, and this we're going to call opening the cave. And the other event I'm interested in trying to look at today is this dragon here. Now we've done a couple of streams on killing the dragon and taking its stuff, but one of the things that happens is that when you kill the dragon, its dead body lies in the room, but after a certain number of turns, which we'll determine, that body decays and becomes a rotting carcass of a dead dragon, and it reveals another treasure. There's a dragon's tooth in the carcass, and which you can take. So we need to kind of figure out how we're going to do that part as well. There are other kind of random events which happen. So when you first enter this first level of the caves, which is kind of denoted by this area up here, then there are some dwarves that live there, and they will attack you. So we might try to get in today the initial event when you first see a dwarf. We won't actually have the wandering monster dwarf, which you have to kind of combat, just at the first sight of one, really. So we'll see if we can do that as well. So let's think about the simplest possible way that we could actually create an event system. So I'm thinking that as we go through this move process, you can either actually succeed and move somewhere, or you fail to go that direction. If you succeed to move, this line here will print out to the chat client that you as the player are using your new location. It'll just be a line that's with the name of the new location. So it might say that small cave. Afternoon, Cody Beard. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. We're doing some work on the text adventure today, so just trying to create an event system. I'm going to do it as simply as possible. So I would guess that having successfully moved from one location to another, then then we could reasonably insert events here. So we'll put check for events, and so I guess what we could do is create an event class, and we could check against that. So what's the best way of going about that, I wonder? Let's kind of. I'm not going to overthink this. We're going to try tidy it up as we go along, as kind of the design kind of evolves out of the code we write, which is often the way I tend to write some code, in that don't overthink it to start with, get it working, and then start making it better. So we could just write some code in here, I guess, but that doesn't sound like the right thing to do. So let's think about where we can best instantiate some kind of class. So I guess the best place to do that, I don't know. Not sure the best place to do that. Should we create a static class to start with and then see how far that takes us? So off in Adventure, let's create a new folder called Events. And in there, we'll create a class called the Event Manager. And we'll make it public static for now. So I'm not saying that it's going to be static forever, but let's make it public static at this stage. And we'll create a method on there, public static. We'll make it void. I'm not sure what it should return. Check for events. And that's one going to want to take in the iAdventure player. We need the player to be passed in. Link Slumps, hey, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. iAdventure player. I'm going to need to bring in that namespace. And we'll just call that player. Okay. So at this point, when we've finished moving and we've successfully reached a new destination, we can call Event Manager. And check for events. Oops. Check for events, pass in player. Okay, so once again reiterating that we're not necessarily going to stick with this solution, but let's see where it takes us. At least we might get the goals of today's stream achieved. So the first thing we want to do when we are checking for events in the event manager, I think we need to see if the players arrived at the location where we can count the cave as being opened. So what we could say is if a new keyboard, and I'm taking some getting used to. If player dot so what have we got on player? We've got current location. So if that current location, what's the current location? It's of type iAdventure location, so we want the name of the location. We actually want the what else is on there? There's a location ID. If that equals the location of where we start to consider the dungeon as being, the caves have been opened. So that is when the player crawls down from the pit, top of the small pit. They've gone through all this part of the initial entrance to the cave, and they arrive in the Hall of Mist for the first time. So this is their first kind of part of the adventure, really. So we're building an old school text adventure. I haven't played RimWorld Coded Bird. No, it's Lark in Space. Yeah, is it an old school one from back in the day? This is from 1975, so this is going back one of the kind of the first text adventures of its kind, really. It's not challenging or unusual by kind of today's standards, but it's the first text adventure I ever played, so I thought we'd recreate it, really. So that's what we're doing, Linksums. We're kind of building in our AlphaBot. It's got this text adventure in there, and you can play that with whispers inside the Twitch chat, or you can play it inside Slack or Discord clients. So Coded Bird RimWorld's a fairly recent PC game, yeah. So I don't really play computer games anymore. I used to, but not anymore. Yeah, so this goes back a long way. So I first played it on a mainframe. This says it goes a long way. It goes back a long way. So we should have access to locations, and it was the Hall of Mists, and it's the eastern edge of the Hall of Mists. So if you arrive in that location, what's this? The location ID is a location. If that equals location.hall of mist. Okay, we haven't got an equals. Maybe we can do that. No. Location ID is a type locations. Is it like that? I don't think it is it? It is. There we go. So we probably can use equal there. Oops. Silly me. There we go. So if we are at the Hall of Mist, then we want to count as the cave is opened. However, we don't want to obviously do that more than once. You said, did you say a bad word? Did you say a bad word, Linksums? Never mind. Yeah, I've got Nightbot dialed up. I'm sorry about that. So the cave is open to this point. So we need to kind of record that event. And this is an event which basically gives you points, and also it's going to be an event which we're going to check before we check for other events, because random events or kind of planned events other than this one won't occur if you're not actually in the caves proper. If you're actually up at the surface, or you're in that kind of crawl space going into the cave, which is this kind of crawl through here, where you encounter the cage and the bird and the rod and all that, then that's not counted as being in the cave. So there's no events going to happen inside that kind of section. It's only once you get down here, and we're going to concentrate on this first level, I think, including this dragon. It's only this area where we're going to initially have any events happen. Okay, so the cave is open to this point. So on our adventure player, I think we better have some way of recording events that have occurred, and also maybe some points. So let's get a point. So we'll have a public int points on there. Let's go and have a look at iAdventurePlayer actually. And we got a score. We've already got a score on there, so let's go back and get rid of that score. We don't need score, but we might need a dictionary of now what's a dictionary going to be of? It's going to be a dictionary of some kind of enum event. I'll blame my new keyboard and an int, I think, and we'll call that event record. I'm not sure exactly what to call it. So let's grab that and pop that into the interface to say that an iAdventurePlayer has to have one of those. Put it under clocks. And over in events, let's create a new class. And it's going to be events. And it's going to be a public enum events. And the first event is going to be cave open. So let's have it like that. So I say that we're kind of doing this design as we go along. So let's say don't get hung up too much on the design. We're going to figure out how this all works as we kind of work through it. Event ID. It's called event, isn't it? Probably not a great name, is it? Events it was. What did I call it? Public enum event IDs. Yeah, we'll have it like that. Event IDs, yeah, should be okay. Event IDs. Bring that in. And over in AdventurePlayer. So Linksums have tried to get that with sorry, I've got a paid version. I haven't got a paid version of Visual Studio. No, what I've got in there is CodeRush. It's CodeRush, yeah, pretty big. So what was the thing you were interested in there, Linksums? Okay. Oh, well, if you just ask your question again, and I'll try and answer. It was CodeRush, was it? Yeah. Event IDs. Okay. And we need to bring that in as well. Okay. Over the Event Manager. So if player dot event record dot contains key IDs dot cave open. So if it doesn't contain that, then what we're going to do, we're going to add that event to the player's record. So it's going to be event IDs. I'm not sure event IDs is what I want to call it. We might change that. We'll just put one against that in the integer side. just to say, yeah, we've opened the cave, and then we can go player score plus equals 25. So you get 25 points for getting this far. Legendary Moo, welcome to the stream. So, okay, so there's obviously some chat going on amongst yourselves. If I can answer anything for you, just give me a shout. And what I'm going to do is put my earphones on. I think we have some background music. If you need to tap my attention, remember that the hey command isn't working because we're actually working on the bot at the moment. So you'll need to try and attract my attention in chat. So yes, CodeLens, is that what the question's about? So CodeLens is now in Visual Studio Community Edition, yes. Yes. So yeah, it's got really virtually everything you get in Enterprise and above. I think there's it doesn't have. I don't think it has live unit testing. It doesn't have live unit testing. That's about all it doesn't have. But yeah, it's really good. And so I only use the Community Edition. So if they actually land at the Hall of Mists, we check if they've already been here before. If they haven't, then we count the cave as being opened, give them 25 points, and then what we say here is that if basically the same if statement as this. If they haven't opened the cave, then we're simply going to return here. Okay, so we don't have to want to check for any further events until they actually manage to open the cave. They arrive at the Hall of Mist first time. So Belligerent Potato, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Community makes your code open source though, right? Is there any way you work on private apps? It doesn't make your... I don't believe it makes your code open source. I think you can use Community Edition for up to 5 developers within an organization, I believe. But you might want to check on the Visual Studio website for the exact details of what you can do, can and can't do with but there's no way they can kind of mandate that it's got to be open source, I don't think. But all my code's up on GitHub anyway. It's all open source anyway. Yes, I think Matthew's correct there. There's no way they could enforce your code to be open source just because you use the free product. The free product is there to encourage you to use Visual Studio. It's just a way of getting you into that product. And I guess there are kind of probably killer features, things like live unit testing, which are in the full Visual Studio. And obviously, if you're in a large organisation, a large company, then you would have to license your Visual Studios. But I think it's basically a marketing exercise, and I guess you could say it's a service to the developer community. They want people coding in .NET Core, and they want people coding in Visual Studio. But there's always Visual Studio Code if you don't want to go that route. So yeah, I don't think there's any kind of restrictions or any gotchas for using it. No, you can. Matthew, that's absolutely right. I don't believe there are any restrictions on developing commercial products. I'm pretty sure, since I read that you can use it in a commercial organisation with up to 5 people. And I've got a cat meowing at me. Hopefully, he will let me carry on. So okay, so we've got that far. Let's just clear this up for a moment. Okay, so we should hit here. Let's give it a run and see what happens. I'm going to use Slack to do the tests. Let's find where Slack is at the moment. It's over here. It's a bit white, unfortunately, but we'll have to just live with that. Let's start up the bot. The bar will start up in chat as well. You get a chat message, but you'll be able to use normal commands, but don't use the adventure command because we're actually in debug mode. Okay, there we are. What I'll do while we're here, I'll come in and change this. Today, this is our project. We are adding events to our old school text adventure. In Alphabot. I'll save that. Okay. So we can minimize that, and over in Slack we can type the adventure command adv, and we should then drop into our private conversation with Alphabot over here. So here we are in the at the end of the road, the starting location for the adventure, and we're going to just go through the initial part of the adventure, so you can, if you haven't seen it before, you can kind of get a hang for it. So at the moment we have to type adv against every command. You see there's a small building here. We're going to go inside the small building. We've hit our location here, and we can see our current location is the building. So let's remove that breakpoint for the moment until we get somewhere. Oh, it's interesting. We've hit so we haven't got a so that's the first thing we need to do. We haven't got a dictionary. Let's initialize the dictionary in our adventure player. So this is going to be a new dictionary. Like that. In fact, we can do the same with clocks here as well. Initialize our clocks. So we'll be using clocks a bit later on. So Blizzard Potato, you went back and read it more for individuals. You can create free or paid apps with community. Yeah, that's correct. So let's start this up again. So you're going to get a few of these accepting commands messages coming up. So just ignore those for now. There we go. Okay. So we're back here. Let's see where we are. Sorry, an ADV. Look, even I forget, and I can't spell. Okay, we're going to go into the building. I'm going to look. So I'm going to try and find a way I don't have to keep typing ADV in front of everything. So we've got a large I key. One of the commands we're going to need to develop at some point is take all. I haven't got that. Take key. Take a lamp. Okay. And we're going to light the lamp. The lamp is shining. So if I look at doing inventory, you'll see what I'm carrying. I've got an iron key and a battered lamp which is lit. Okay. Let's go out. I've got a cat that's meowing like mad. I'm going to go south, following a stream. Go south again. We're at a slit in the rocks. We're going to go south again. We're in a depression. Let's have a look. And there's a strong steel gate here. Great. So we're going to unlock the grate. And we've got a dark space leading down, so we're going to go down. So you can see it's oops. It's an exploration game really. I know my way around, so Oh, okay. So Legendary Moo, what you're saying? You added a moves command so that you can see in all the directions. That's a very good idea. No, so there was a few kind of changes we've made since you last looked at the project. It's not an awful lot, but there's a few kind of bits of advice. It says if you don't know which way to go, it does suggest you look. And some of the reasons that it's not obvious which way to go from looking is that they're secret, of course. Yes, so that's right. So if you're saying that you might have a problem with things that are supposed to be hidden, so there are some secret passages and things like that. The kind of thing there is that if you know there's a secret passage, you can say move secret or go secret, and it will go to the secret area. But okay, we're down inside the cave. We haven't opened the cave yet though. So let's have a look. Okay, so we're beneath the grate. You can see there's a strong steel grate above us now, and we've got a long crawl leading to the west. So we're going to go west. And we're not going to bother about picking up any items as we go. We're just going to go west. So this is an example. When I type go, it says you cannot go in the direction. Try and look to see where you might go. It's one of the kind of things added to see, to kind of help people kind of because one of the playtester had go to cave, and you can't just go to the cave. Unfortunately, it's a bit more involved than that, a bit more long-winded. And we go west again. We're in the canyon. Go west. We can ignore all the things that are in these caves. We're in the bird chamber. We're going to ignore the bird. We go west. Top of a small pit. So we're going to look here. Okay, so we're going to go down this pit. This is the pit where the wisps of white smoke emerge. There's a small crack leading on which we can't actually go down. We can't follow, but that is actually a secret. So Legendary Moo, you might want to kind of investigate how you can actually use that small crack which is in this position. Right, we were going to put a breakpoint in our event manager here, and just continue. So we're going to go down. We should hit our breakpoint, which we have. And our location. Our location is in the Hall of Mist. See that Code Rush is telling us that this is going to evaluate to true, and it says we're currently at this decision point here in this little decision graph. If we then just step over, we should record the event and score 25 points. And that's the end of it. So if we got a player here, we can investigate this. So we've had 12 moves so far. We've scored 25 points. Event record has our cave open. So that kind of recording the events that we successfully kind of hit. Okay. So I think kind of prove the idea that this is kind of the basic idea is going to work. It's whether it's too clunky or not. Okay. Let's go back up here. Okay. So, what else do we need to do? When you first enter the caves, there's a chance of encountering a dwarf. So we should do that part. Okay. Is that the best? I think we won't do that yet. We'll leave that for a while. We'll get used to the idea of how we're going to operate this. So the other thing that we can have a look at is this dragon here. If you kill the dragon, there's a dead body of a dragon, and then after a certain number of turns, what I want to happen is that that dead body's got to decay, and it's going to be a rotting dead dragon in that room rather than just a dead one. We've got the concept of clocks. So each adventurer can have any number of clocks, and those basically increment every turn, and they can be used. For example, if we say that 10 turns after killing the dragon, the body will rot and we'll be able to get the extra treasure that's going to be revealed by the rotted dragon, which is its dragon tooth, then that might be a suitable thing to do. So this is one of those events where we don't care where the player is at the time. Just after that number of time that time has elapsed, we need to replace that dragon, the dead dragon, with a rotting dragon. Okay. So in order to help us with this, what we could do with is a quick way of getting to this location, and I think it's not too far to get from Y2. So we'll be able to do that, I think, because I will create a teleport command. I think, so it'll teleport us to any room we want to set up for testing. But we can use a magic word to get to Y2. We should be able to follow our way through these few. We've got a snake there, haven't we? So we'll create a teleport command just for testing. So let's do that. So this is going to be a bit like, that's the wrong one. So a bit like a move command, really. Okay, command. Let's okay, let's create one here. This is going to be teleport. And it's going to inherit from my adventure command. Let's implement that interface. Now we're going to want to have a nice constructor. Teleport. And we invoke that. We're just going to move. And what we'll do is this is going to be a command which we're going to just have to alter every time we come to do a new type of testing. So we're going to say that player dot current location is going to be so where do we want to go to test the dragon? We want to go to the secret east-west canyon. I think that's the best place. Then we can just pop in and fight the dragon that way. Location stop, and it's going to be the secret east-west canyon. There's quite a lot of locations, as you can see, and there's going to be more. Secret east-west canyon, so we're going to go there. So what's type that? That's of type I adventure location. So it's just going to be that, isn't it? Nope. What was it in Event Manager? Locations.location. No, I think that's right. It is location. Adventure location. Location ID is of type location, which is an enum. Adventure player current location is an iAdventure location. Okay. So location. This is where sometimes you kind of paint yourself into a bit of corner. We want a quick way of because what we've got here, the move command obviously is respecting. I know what we need to do. We need to use this. Yeah. This is a teleport. So let's just grab this code here. So we just pinch the magic teleport spell. We'll use that. The move to, it's going to be secret East West Canyon. We've got access to game. We should have access to game. So we know it's going to be a valid place because we're setting it up. We'll just move there. So this try get location basically is just trying to find that location in our dungeon map. Do we have a copy of game somewhere? Game is passed in. Oh, we're in here. Where do we get underscore game from? So it's on the base command. So that should be available to us. So we're going to move there and there, and this is going to be is match. Best way of doing that. I don't think we need to actually base adventure command. Is that what we've implemented? Base adventure command. We've got our. We don't necessarily need that. I don't think. Oh, maybe we do. Let's move ourselves into our own class anyway. Our own file. Okay. So this needs to be base adventure command, which is our problem. And that should implement is match for us. So starting to come back after quite a while from using this, you do just come back eventually. Okay, so that's our teleport command. It's going to take us, if we just type teleport, it should take us there. We need to add this to our command list. Let's base adventure command. Where's our command list? Adventure command registry, here it is. We'll just add it in here. So we must remember to remove this. New teleport. I'm going to say teleport. And put it down here. And we'll put a note. And we'll find this to do later. It's for testing only, so that to do will remind us when we do a scan at the end of the development to remove that command. Okay. Let's just make sure that works. Interesting. Not quite sure why thought I hadn't implemented invoke, but there we are. We'll just persuade it that we have really. Let's build. Okay, let's just make sure we can teleport. Close those down so we haven't got too many of those going. What's in the house? That's adventure. Okay, into our private messaging. Let's go in. We need to get a lamp. Lamp. White lamp. We'll teleport. And that's done nothing. Hit here. Oh, I think we actually have moved. So what we'll do, let's just make sure that we have moved. We need to kind of put a bit of information in to make sure we know we've moved. Let's have a look. Where are we over here? Let's just do a look. We should be in the Secret Canyon now. Yeah, we are in the Secret Canyon. So we did move. Electric Elf, you want some Electric Elf? So Fuel Snable, thank you for joining the stream. So Electric Elf is now slightly more opaque than he was before. There we go. He probably could do with a bit more. It's quite good against black. Against white, it does show. So there's some Electric Elf. So thank you for joining the stream, Fuel Snable. Good to see you, and thank you so much for these shaders. They're fantastic. Okay, so we have moved. So let's just put a piece of text in there to indicate that we have moved. So in our move command, we basically just post back to the player's chat client that their new location. So we'll do that. There we go. So that's our temporary command. Link. Okay. So we're back into our events. Event manager then. So let's handle Dead Dragon to Rotting Dead Dragon. There's a few components to this. And I don't know how to do all of them at the stage. Stack sound trigger. Yes, I do want to have some sound effects to that. Electric Elf, Fuel Snable, I'm not quite sure how to do it at the same time. With the Stream Deck it seemed a bit difficult to have it play a sound and reveal the scene simultaneously. It seems to want to do one and then the other, which is a bit annoying. I can reveal the scene, and then I play the sound, and for some reason the scene disappears, or the source disappears that's holding the electric elf. So it's a bit weird, that, but we'll get around it eventually. Okay. Slack message notification. Oh, sorry, I see. Yes, the knock. Yes, your Snable. We're going to have a few of those while we're testing it. The best way for me to show you what's happening is to use the Slack client. I wish it has a dark mode though. Okay, so the dead dragon. So first thing we need to know. Okay, let me show you what happens over with the dragon. So we need to find our items. And here is here's the dragon. So when you deal with the dragon, basically you the way you get past it is just say kill the dragon or slay the dragon or whatever. It goes to, do you want to use your bare hands? If you say yes, I do, it says you just vanquish the dragon with your bare hands. Unbelievable, isn't it? And what it does there, once you've killed the dragon, it removes the dragon from the location, and it adds a new dead dragon to the location, and then it starts a clock on the player. And this clock, basically every turn, is going to tick over for the player. And so if they've got a clock, we know that we need to check. So if they got a clock called dragon, and the value of that clock is greater than 10, let's say 10 for now, it might go up 15 or something like that, but let's say 10, then we want to try and swap out the dead dragon for the rotted dead dragon. And I'm not quite sure how to do that swapping, but let's tackle the first part of it. So in event manager, and this is where this class is going to become completely unwieldy. We'll have a whole load of if statements in here, and what we're going to do is kind of hive those off into different classes. But at the moment we're just going to go stream of consciousness and pop everything into this class, and then kind of sort out the mess later as the design starts to emerge. So if player dot blocks dot contains key. Arapar, thank you for the follow. Wonderful. Let's have some electric elf for that. So this is our celebration of your follow. So thank you very much. Really do appreciate that. We're well on our way now towards hitting our goal. And this is a WebGL shader that Fuel Snable, who's in chat currently, built for us. So that's a celebration. So we're going to hardcode dragon. We're going to go through and get rid of these magic strings at some point as well. If it contains a dragon, and player dot clocks dragon it's greater than 10. So we're not going to want to do this check every single time, but let's okay. So we want to know if we've already done this task. Okay, so if they've got the dragon clock, which means they killed the dragon. We're working on our old school text adventure, which is it runs inside our chatbot. So we're trying to add basic events to the adventure. So we're starting off simply, just some kind of really easy events to code, and then eventually want to build up to having wandering monsters and things like that. But the adventure that we're working on is say it's old school text adventure called Colossal Cave, back from the 1970s. So we're just reproducing it in C# .NET Core. It's quite well advanced, so there's quite a lot of it in place, but there's also an awful lot to do. There's still an awful lot of caves to build, and also items to build in their treasures. We've only just started the scoring system, so this is the first score that you can get by actually reaching a certain point in the cave. You get 25 points for arriving at that location for the first time. And now what we're looking at is the situation where in the dungeon there's a dragon, and if you kill the dragon then its dead body lies in the room, but a certain number of turns after you've killed the dragon we want to turn that into that dead dragon into a rotting dragon, because there's extra treasure you can then get. You can get the dragon's tooth. So that's what we're trying to do at the moment, and it's kind of it's a bit like emergent code really. We need to figure out exactly how we're going to do that. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to remove the dead dragon from that room and replace it with a rotting dragon corpse. We do that kind of thing currently under what's called interactions, and we have an add item to location and a remove item from location. So can we utilize this? So what this takes is an adventure item and an adventure location. Okay, so when we create a new one, it takes an item to add. Oh, we can add to a specific location up there, and then we can invoke do on it. So let's try that. The first thing to do is to remove from a location. That's simply so this is based on current location, so we need to extend this. So we need to be able to remove from a location. So let's pinch that piece of code and pop it over here. We'll create another constructor, and that will have an iAdventure location as well. We'll call that location, and in this particular constructor then underscore location will be equal to location, and so what we can say here is that if location underscore location is null, then we do this version. Let's try some CodeRush on that. I should practice using CodeRush. There we go. Else we're going to underscore location dot remove item underscore location dot remove item. Just remove. It takes an adventure item, which is going to be item to remove. Okay. So let's try that bit first. So we're going to, in our event manager, we're going to var remove. It's going to be a new remove. It's called remove from location. probably need to bring a namespace in, which we do, the interactions namespace, and we want to construct that with, no, what was it? It was a item and a location. So this is going to be items dot dead dragon, and this is why we need to make sure the dead dragon's in there in the first place. So we'll do that in a moment. So we're passing in. We need to pass an. We want to pass an iAdventure item in there. So we need to get the item, don't we? Can we just add an item? So this is then going to be a new add items to location. Add to location, and in there we need an item, an iAdventure item. So this is going to be item factory. Let's go over to our dragon. Where's the dragon? Get the syntax exactly from there. Yeah, so we need an item factory. So we can grab that piece of code actually. So that's going to be one of those. Except this time we want to pass in. It wants an instance of game. So it wants a game. This is where things start to get a bit complicated, isn't it? So where can we get a copy of game from? On the dragon, it's I read only adventure game. So I think we got one of those on the player. Player dot. We don't have a game on there. What's got a game on it? Which locations have game on it? It does. Yeah, it gets messy, doesn't it? Player dot current location dot game. So that's just basically a record of the game, all the kind of variables in the game as we've got so far, and we can use that. Oops, it's not fake game, it's just game. Okay, pass that in there. We need a location to add it to, and that location is going to be over in Dragon. It's the current location. Okay. So over in the teleport command that we just added, not there. over here, we used game to try and get a location, didn't we? Okay, we'll do the same. This is going to be location dot. So the dragon dwells in the secret northeast canyon. Secret northeast canyon is there. That's going to try and grab us a copy of that. Location, nothing. Was location. We just need to bring the namespace in, that's all. So we use the game just to get us a handle on the location, and we add to the location we want a new one of those, and that the item and the location is that. We remove from location, and we got 2 overloads on here, and we want to remove to the same thing. We want an instance of the dead dragon, and we want location. So there's certain symmetry going on. The item here is going to be rotting dead dragon. Okay. We want to remove. Don't do. What does that take? Okay. So when we do a remove, and we do, then these actually, we don't care about the item and this is so we can test things about these items, but in this case we can just pass nulls into there. Let's try that. Get in the right place. And for add item, do that as well. And for add item, the location, nothing in chat again. Once again, we don't necessarily care about those things at the moment. So we'll try just the simplest thing that possibly work. Okay. So we'll get the location here. Now we don't want to do this. So what do we want to do? We've made the swap. So the player no longer needs a clock. So then we can say player dot clocks, because the clock's usefulness has expired now. So remove the dragon clock. Will that be possible? Oh, it's just going to be round brackets, not square brackets. Okay. The player will no longer have that clock. Shouldn't be, that should be void. Okay. So, let's give it a go. Let's run. You're going to get the bot speaking in chat again, just to ignore it for now. There we go. So we get a slack. Let's just get rid of all of the whiteness. So let's start a game. Okay, we're gonna go in. We're gonna go in. We're gonna get the lamp. I'll light the lamp so we can see. And we're going to use our testing command. We're going to teleport to our secret location. So we're just outside the dragon cave. So have a look. Okay, so we need to head west. We've crashed out. Why have we crashed out? Item was null. Well, that's interesting. Because we teleported, we set our current location correctly. Where's the teleport command? We've set our current location to that place. And it says that that was null. It's not null, is it? Oh, it's got a null in it, look. I wonder why it's got a null in it. That's some interesting bug there, isn't it? Well, let's work around that. If item we'll work around it and then we'll figure out why we get the null in there. So we won't do anything if it's if we suddenly find a null in that array. It's probably something to do with setting up the room, but it could also be yes, so Plutonin, I've got Fira code, which is why my not equals looks like a proper mathematical not equals. I do like Fira code, especially when doing some F# work, and you get the ligatures are very nice in that for things like the pipe forward and pipe back, and also when we're using here, if you use the lambda arrow, the fat arrow, it's a nice arrow. So yeah, I do like Fira code. So it's just you can download Fira code. It's a free font, and then you can just set that as your default font in Visual Studio or in Visual Studio Code, and you get those nice ligatures. Okay, so we need to kind of figure out what's going on there. It could be because we're teleporting. I'm not quite sure why it would be. It shouldn't be the new code we've just written, because we're not going to hit this unless we've got that clock, and the clock is over 10. Interesting. Okay, let's try again. I don't like finding things like that because I don't understand why that happened. I've never seen that error before. But then again, who knows? We'll find out eventually. Okay, so now we need to get the same thing. We need to go into the building. We need to grab the lamp. We need to light the lamp. And we can use our teleport command, which is our testing command, to need adv teleport. So go to the place where we want to test. We want to go west. We're going to look. So there's the dragon that's barring away. Huge, fierce green dragon. I need to kind of expand on that description. It's lying on a Persian rug, which is the treasure that we want. And the surprise way we do this is to make kill dragon. Yes, you can install Cluedo. You can install Fira code on Chocolatey. So yes, it's all very nicely handled for us coders. It's really good. I type in yes here, add the yes. You can see why I want to get rid of that ADV prefix. So we've hit another. Once again, we've got a null in our here, so we're going to have to kind of protect ourselves. So we did actually almost get there. If if item not equal to null and that. So this is where if you watch the stream that we did a couple of weeks back on the AI chatbot, there was a whole stream dedicated to the SAD path, and that's probably what we haven't done here. You need to go through this code base and look at SAD path programming. But that's not always the most exciting thing to do on stream, so probably why it gets missed when we're kind of doing this kind of stuff. But it is important, and it was a useful exercise on the chatbot because it led to some very, very nice, dare I say it, beautiful refactorings, which I really enjoyed aesthetically as a developer. Simplifying and deleting code as part of a refactoring is the best thing in the world. Okay, let's try again. So we go into the building. We ignore the leaflet and the mailbox and get a lamp and light. Lamp and teleport. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop a breakpoint, and we're going to pop that breakpoint in Event Manager, and we're going to pop that breakpoint into that point there. Okay, let's go back to Slack. We're going to go west. So if we say if we go north here, then we're told that a dragon's blocking away and hissing at us. So the solution is to kill the dragon, as it always is. It says you really want to do that, and we say yes. So we just vanquish the dragon with our bare hands. And if we look, we'll see there's a body of a huge green dragon lying off to one side, and we can now get the rug. And we've hit another one. Damn. So it's location items. First or default. null in there is bugging me. Okay. Can we survive this, I wonder? Okay, we can. Yeah. So we're not going to take the rug. Actually, the rug's not mentioned in that list, is it? Which is interesting. I think the rug hasn't been spawned into that location properly. That's what it is, I think. The rug's not there. Okay, so what we need to do now, we've got our clock. If we have a look at the player, we go to move and drop a we drop a breakpoint on here so we can examine the player at that point. If we go north, the player should now have a clock, and they do. It's a dragon clock and it's at 0. So that why is that? Collection was modified. Interesting. So it is incrementing, it's just complaining because we are modifying that enumeration. It says it might not execute. Let's try and fix it. Why does it want to put fake clock in there? Is it going to be as simple as that? I'm not so sure it is. So Pluton, are you enjoying Sphericode? Yes, it's railway-oriented programming. I've been looking at railway-oriented programming. That's trying to help me understand some of the code that we wrote on the F# parser stream Fuel Stable. So that's how I'm trying to understand the bind function. So the kind of the idea of trying to fix a something that's got one track in to something that's got 2 tracks out. Yeah, I'm sure it is related, and it's kind of helping me understand bind somewhat. This idea of joining things joining 2 things together which haven't got a common interface, which is why I guess I called it an adapter, but yeah, you're right, it's a combiner. Yes, it does let you focus on the happy path. You're right, because you shunt all the sad path away onto the same track and don't worry about it. And it's only the happy path which continues. Okay, this is being a bit repetitive, but this is the nature of testing a game like this. Adventure. Go in. Get the lamp. Light the lamp. Teleport. Go west. Go north. Kill the dragon. Oh, slay the dragon, that's probably what we should do, isn't it? Let me say yes to that seemingly silly question. Can we go north without it crashing? We can. Okay, looks like we fixed that issue. So we know that our clock has been set. So it should be have a clock setting of 1 now. Let's look. Where can we go? North and south. So let's just go. Let's kind of oscillate between north and south for a while. And go north and go south. Go north. So that's 5. Isn't this typical of any kind of game really? You have to do this kind of thing. Slayer Darth, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Nice to see you again. We're working on our text adventure today. Where am I? Go north. Go south. Looks a bit strange what we're doing. We're just trying to test a particular piece of functionality. So we don't seem to be hitting our event manager. So let's once again on our move, let's pop a breakpoint in here, and go north. So our player has a clock. The clock is 0 still though. We're not incrementing, that's why. Why are we incrementing? Oh dear, okay, so our clock mechanism doesn't seem to want to work, does it? The incrementing clock. Ah, that's why. I need to push that back into the can we just do that? Aren't we just going to hit the same problem we just did? Are we just going to hit the same problem? Well, let's find out. So Slaydart have been working on a terrible inherited code base today. I do sympathise. There's a lot of those around. I've got a couple at work. Luckily, going to have the opportunity to scrap them and rewrite them. The problem I've got at work is that we're still working on .NET framework. Because of some of them got some dependencies which are only available in the full framework. They're actually Microsoft products dependencies. And so we're not able to convert over a lot of our stuff yet to .NET Core. And that feels like we're writing legacy code today. You know, we're writing new code which is legacy. You still get client-side social FTP. That's interesting. Yeah, I do sympathise when you're trapped in that, especially as there's so much excitement going on. I think it's kind of a very rich period for developers, really, not just .NET developers, but developers in general. There's a very rich period and lots of new stuff, new exciting stuff around that it'd be great to be able to play with. By play with, I mean actually use in production. Yes, Blazor. I want to have a play with Blazor, but I'm not. I'm going to wait until it's released to manufacturing. I think because I don't like the fact that the tooling is there's not sufficient tooling support, and you have to go to preview versions of Visual Studio. I don't particularly want to go to preview. I actually have a project I'd like to do using .NET Core 3, which is to start to build a very simple synthesizer, and I might do it on stream. And I want to use WPF app for that. So I thought .NET Core 3 might be a way of doing that, and I think I can use .NET Core 3 without having to go to a preview build of Visual Studio, because I'm on 16.1 and I believe we can use it. It says it's not recommended, but you can use it. But by the time I'm ready to do that project on stream, if I do it on stream, excuse me, we may well have a version where it's we don't have to use preview. Get lamp. White lamp. Plutonen. So you're saying 3 is coming next month? Yes, that's what I believe. So I'm hoping that we don't need to do that anymore with the preview versions, because people have. Yes, I know you can install them side by side. I don't know. I'm just worried about doing preview on stream. Some people have. I mean, I know that Jeff has done. Jeff Fritz did some, and Brendan over at Dev Chatter did some work on preview. I'm just, I don't know. Things go wrong enough anyway. Slayer Dart says because there's a lot of cool stuff happening today doesn't mean most developers aren't following. We'll be following best practice. Well, no, we don't know what they are sometimes, especially with things like Blazor. We're going to have to learn what best practices are. Yeah, Fjordsnabber is right, of course. He says there's no. I don't think there's any common agreement to what best practices are. There's quite a few different views, especially any group. Take any group of 2 or more developers and ask them to talk about best practices. You're going to get some kind of disagreement, and I think it's in terms of best practice, it's whatever your team has agreed democratically amongst themselves are the best practices, and they will always be the best ones, always the same ones. But you've got a common set of practices which you're going to work on that project, and maybe in the next project you sit down as a group of developers and you say, look, that didn't work properly, or let's try this as a best practice. Let's try a different language even, So Coded Bird, you only use preview Visual Studio. You're very brave. Best practice, yes. It's not necessarily the best. It's what you've agreed, isn't it, as your team, as you're going to follow, and that could vary project to project. And that's what you have your coding standards for, and what you have your kind of technical design document for. If you write such things, just sets out how you're going to approach a particular project, and you learn your lessons from that. And it may be that next time it's going to be different. Often it is. So let's teleport. Go west. Kill the dragon. Yeah. Go north. And it's going to complain about this. Collection was modified. Enumeration operation may not succeed. It's because we're still enumerating. Okay, I want to increment these values. I hate that. It's not staying like that. So let's is it not going to let you turn that back? Oh, wonderful. Wish I hadn't done that now. For each clock in player clocks, pretty sure we can't do things like that. Codybird, you couldn't make a Visual Studio extension for internal use. That's good. It will set up all the types of internal projects to use our current practices on Core 3. Finally, full framework development was killed with .NET 5 announcements. Absolutely, which is why I think that what I'm doing at the moment at work is except on a very few small projects, is actually creating new legacy code as we write it. So it feels weird. That announcement kind of changed. I think I said in one of the Discords it was like earth-shattering. I think it is. It's just changed everything really overnight. Now we've got to start thinking what's going to happen in 2020 or 2021 or whatever. It's going to change everything we do. Obviously, .NET Core is going to be around. .NET full framework will still be around. But yeah, let's do a bit of googling, going. So C# increment values of a dictionary. For each key value pair, string int entry in my dictionary values. We could try that. Read only. Property access a key value pair value. clock in player clocks. Because we can't do it with this, doesn't it? That's come out as a key value pair. What do we get on here? Don't care what the... It says you can't do that. Read only. Let's see what we can find on here. So concurrent dictionary has a handy upsert method. That's interesting. Okay. So they're doing something like this, aren't they? Why do we need to do that, I wonder? For each var item in player clock's values, increment the value. That should work. Okay, we'll give it a go. It seems happy. No, it's not. It says cannot assign to tick because it's a for each iteration variable. That says collection of values. Gets a collection containing the values in the dictionary. Let's come back with what we want. It's a say int, and we can't increment an int. Increment a numerical value in a dictionary. This is the same thing. Dictionary string int increase value. Re-adding it. is this hard? For each key, lots of keys. So the clock is equal to, I'm saying fake clock is equal to the clock. Do we just need to make a copy? Is that what we need to do? Okay, we'll try that, but I'm not sure. Right. Okay, adventure. I'll do the same as we do before. Light lamp. Any ports. Went through, didn't it? So normally when you get a connection was modified, you know, like if it's a list, you know, you put a upgrading Dave, welcome to the stream, good to see you. Normally you'd yes, it's a test-based game, and you can play in chat. Yeah, it's we don't want it to play it at the moment in chat, but eventually it will be fully available in chat. You play it via whispers. I'm also playing it currently in Slack and Discord, so our bot connects to all three of those clients, to the Twitch chat and to the Discord and Slack. So I'm testing it out in Slack at the moment. Well, I'm hitting this issue here where I want to increment this. I've got a dictionary of clocks. There's a string int dictionary. All I want to do is increment the int part of it, and it's proving to be a bit of a pain. Updating the fields of a concurrent dictionary. So would you make it a concurrent dictionary? Because someone was using that, weren't they? Add or update. I'm not worried about overheads. Some dictionary add or update. Add or update. Shall we try making it a concurrent key and the concurrent dictionary and see what happens? I'm willing to try anything at this point. So we need an iAdventure player. This is going to be a concurrent dictionary. Is it going to help though? Is it going to let us go through the IDs? Okay, well let's not do that. Let's try it a different way. Let's step back from that. Where was I? I was on move, wasn't I? So keys, player dot clocks. Oops. Player dot clocks dot keys. For each key in keys. So now we're not iterating through player.clocks at all, are we? Let's try that. Ooh, the whiteness, just some of that white. Okay, here we go again, let's try again. He's watching me type a lot of adventure commands. Are there multiple threads? There shouldn't be. Other than what we expect. Light lamp. So you can't, more than one person can play at the same time. It's not quite worked out how that actually is going to pan out. So you can have two or three people in there at the same time. They can see each other, they can talk to each other. Other interactions are a bit more tricky, and also having a shared environment is a bit more tricky than I want to tackle at the moment. So at the moment, it doesn't quite work as a multiplayer game. It kind of works, but not. You know, it's a bit more. If someone takes an item in their world, then it's gone in everyone, in everyone else's. So you can kind of get stuck. Want to go west. Want to murder the dragon. Yeah. Go north, and it hits that again. Which collection is being modified now? It's quite fun. It gives me these headaches though. See, on this case, I'm not modifying key, am I? I'm not. This key. This is the list of keys. Maybe if I do that, I change it to a list. Well, we're going to try it once. I shouldn't be iterating over the clocks collection. All we do is check if it's got anything in it. But maybe turning that into a list and iterating over that list will separate it away from the dictionary. Let's give that a go. Right, repeat what we just done. Grab the lamp. Light the lamp. Teleport. Go west. Kill the dragon. Go north. Okay, we've done it. So let's just pop a breakpoint in here and make sure it does increment. Get south. So currently clocks is 2. So after this, clocks should go up. Go north. So clocks, dragon, she's 3. So we're incrementing now. So we're happy. Okay, well that's interesting. Seems a bit of a faff, but there we are. So we need to do this 10 times, just so we can hit the magic point where our event is going to fire. So 10 turns after we kill the dragon, the event should fire. So just in case upgrading Dave, we're building an event system into the bot, and this is an event which is based on those clocks. So this is an event which should fire 10 turns after you slay a dragon, or the dragon. So we're going to see if this. Go north. So let's pop a breakpoint back in here again and see if we are getting anywhere near 10 or if we've gone over it. So here, clocks dragon is 13, so we've already exceeded it. We haven't hit our event manager code. If clocks contains dragon and clocks dragon is greater than, why aren't we hitting that? Let's pop a breakpoint there instead. south. We hit a breakpoint. We have. Let's just pass through that, which is another one. Oh, are we not calling? Why aren't we calling our event manager? So clocks 16 now, well over 10. We come into here. Because we've teleported, it's returning here, that's why. Okay, well that's fair enough. Let's can we do this here? We've hit our breakpoint now. So this should evaluate to true, which it does. This is our decision tree that's we can now follow. So we've got the adventure game. We've got a location which is Secret Northeast Canyon. We're going to try and remove the dead dragon from there and add remove the dragon keyword from the clock. So now if we hover over player, clocks is 0, which is correct. And continue that off. I think it's going to work. We just because we teleported there, we didn't have the yeah, it did get into the event manager, but I'll say what happened is that the event manager has this clause that says that if you haven't opened the cave yet, or you haven't been through a certain room, then not to handle any other events. And because we teleported, we hadn't kind of clicked on it, we hadn't achieved this event, which was what the problem was. So now if we're in the Secret Canyon, if we look, see the body of the dragon hasn't been removed, but the new item, the dead dragon, has been put there. And I noticed the dragon tooth isn't being shown, which is interesting as well. So why is the remove item didn't seem to remove the item? It got a new instance of dead dragon, that's why, didn't it? The dead dragon needs to be a singleton. Okay. Dead dragon needs to be a singleton. So we can do that. We have a item factory which lives down here, where we can set the dead dragon as being the singleton. There's only going to be one dead dragon. We need to check on what we did for Crystal Bridge. So we need to get infinite stuff from there. And we need to do dead dragon. Where's my Crystal Bridge gone? Crystal Bridge. So we should get the same instance back. Okay, let's try again. We've got that code commented out, so it should be okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of state around, so yeah. What's it saying? Oh, it's rotting dead dragon, that's the wrong thing. It's this one, the dead dragon, that needs to be a singleton. Not this one. Did I put... I guess that needs to be a private. No. And item factory still unhappy. Get instance. Get instance. Oh, I've just added it, there it is. Oh, that's why. I don't want to new it up. There we go. Happy, happy, happy. Yeah, so updating Dave, it's there's and the problem is I don't work on it kind of every day or every week, so I lose track of how it's kind of evolved, and the design is pretty solid, but I do forget bits of it. So let's give this one more go, and then we'll finish the stream. Didn't quite get as far as I wanted to do, but then you never do you? It seems to be a law of nature that when you're on stream, you simply don't achieve as much code as you probably would if you just sit there and weren't thinking about it on stream. Talking and thinking and solving problems on stream seems to be an awful lot more difficult than it is in real life, as it were, which is interesting. Okay, push on through that. Grab the lamp, light the lamp. This is what fooled us last time. We had teleported, so we didn't open the cave, didn't hit the open cave event, which is the very first event we created today. But that's okay. We know we've commented it out for now. Go west, young man. And slay the dragon. We're foolish enough to say yes to that question. Go north. North. So we'll put our break point in here again. We know we should hit the Plutonin. Okay, full Bandersnatch, yes. Go south. North. This is a bit boring, but this is basically you wouldn't really know that this was going to happen, so we need to spend enough time wandering around the dungeon to suddenly come back and find we've got extra treasure. Which wasn't there, but we'll figure that one out at another stage. So let's just drop something on move. Drop it in there. Just see how close we are. Go south. Let's have a look at that clock. 11. So we should hit it now, shouldn't we? There we are. We hit it this time. Let's just remove that. It was on move, wasn't it? Move. Get rid of that. Continue. Go south. Okay, so it's done it this time. It's got rid of the dead dragon, just the carcass of the dead dragon there now. Interesting enough, the carcass of the dead dragon doesn't seem to be quite complete, so let's quickly just see what that's all about. So the dead dragon, the rotting dead dragon, which is what here, should contain a dragon's tooth, but it doesn't seem to, which is interesting. I think that's a problem for another day though. We've pretty much done what we wanted to do, albeit not quite as much of it as I wanted to get through. So let's see what we've changed. Okay, we've added our test case here. We've added event manager and events. We've got some new interactions. We've beefed up those interactions. I thought we changed add to location. I'm sure we changed add to interaction, add to location. Let's have a quick look at that. So that would be in adventure, interactions, add to it location. Well, I'm sure we added that code there. Oh, interesting. It was there anyway. Okay, fair enough. So we'll just push that up to Git, up to GitHub. So episode 32. This will be up on GitHub for you to look at and to download or play with as you see fit. If you need any help getting the bot running, or working with the adventure game, just let me know in Discord. So my Discord is here. Click on that invite and join me on the Discord for talking about stuff programming related or space related. I'm a bit of a rocket nut, so if you want to talk about space, you can do that there. We could also go to my YouTube channel where all my videos are archived. Do click the subscribe button on YouTube. It is absolutely free to do so. If you're not a follower of the stream, I do encourage you to hit the follow button now. You'll get some rewards of Electric Alf or some hyperspatial hype if you do that. It's the best way of being notified of when I go live. I do sometimes do some unscheduled streams. Also on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at this account, and you also get advanced notifications of when the stream goes live. Have a good one, Days with Dave. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. So yeah, that's pretty much all we need to do today. So let's go and find a stream to raid. If anyone's got any preferences who they'd like to raid, just let me know in chat. We've got Code Rushed and we've got Honest Dan. Should we do Code Rush? Yeah, we'll do Code Rushed. Okay, so if you haven't seen Code Rush streams before, they are quite amazing. We'll go and join Mark Miller over there directly, and I will see you again next Monday, where we're doing a special stream with Fuel Snable as our guest, and we're going to continue that stream that we did a couple of weeks ago, where we're building a parser combinator in F#. So we're going to try and finish that off and end up with a nice finished product for that. We're also going to look at FParsec, so a parsing framework. So it's going to be a functional programming stream on Monday at 9 o'clock in the evening UK time, so do join me for that. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining and bearing with me during trying to figure out that issue with the collection. But we all learn something even when we've kind of been doing the job for as many years as I have. So take care everybody, and we're going to go and raid Code Rush, so stay with us to go and see what Wizardry's up to with his Dungeons and Dragons campaign manager and all the whizzy kind of sound effects and visual effects he has. So I'll see you soon. Bye bye.